Hey everybody, Original Ren here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about a VN that I recently discovered the other day on Indiegogo that is being created in Jakarta, Indonesia, titled Void on the Indiegogo market. And I'm going to read through this, and I want to know your thoughts on what you think about this visual novel. And I'm kind of going to go into a little tiny rant, not really a rant, as to my personal thoughts about Kickstarters and any type of program that is run like Kickstarter, in this case Indiegogo. So I'm just kind of curious what your thoughts are on this too. So here we have this game, it's called Void. I'm not going to play the video, but looking at it right here, we have a full Indiegogo page. It looks very nice. It's got art, it's got why Indiegogo, the impact, the game version, synopsis of the story, the characters with artwork. What about the company? Who are the people working behind it? How will the funds be used? The stretch goals. Basically everything we're looking for here. Excuse me. And a bunch of frequently asked questions as well. Now, let's go through this a little bit. I want to just talk about this game, and it looks pretty nice from what I've looked at, but I kind of want to just read through it, and because even though this page looks extremely official, here are my thoughts on it and what I think. So, it says full game now, only $6. That's pretty nice. Okay, so Void. Let's read the synopsis here. Void is a mafia-themed visual novel project from, I'm going to guess that's 5th Floor Team. The V probably a Roman numeral, but whatever, some company name. With its serious yet entertaining atmosphere, Void is made to be enjoyable by visual novel experts and also casual readers who want to enjoy story plots with great illustration and beautiful music. Okay. Void will be released in 2 versions, one-shot version and full version. The full version of the game is planned to be released on Steam, PC, Mac, and Linux, and Google Play Store on second quarter of 2016, while the one-shot version will be distributed just 1 to 2 weeks after the campaign's deadline. Follow on our Facebook page, and there's a link. And you have all the goals over here. Strange prices: $1, $3, $6, $11, $13, $15, $18, $22. $22 is pretty common for most people. Very interesting price choices here. The highest tier you can claim is $100. But I kind of want to talk about this game just a little bit and what I think about it. Now, this company seems like it has really good intentions, but just from this opening paragraph alone, let's comment on a few things. I have a problem with funding Kickstarters for a lot of different things for one reason. A Kickstarter does not guarantee me a product, therefore I don't know if I'm going to get the product that I wanted to pay for. It's the same reason why I'm not a general fan of pre-ordering something unless I absolutely know that that's going to be similar to the finished product. The Aliens vs. Colonial Marines, if anyone remembers that game from Sega, was a terrible disaster that a bunch of people pre-ordered, and it ended up being one of the worst games of the year. A lot of people demanded that they want their money back, but basically what Sega said and what most people said was, well, it's your fault for pre-ordering the game, and it had a bunch of hype around it and ended up not delivering. The same is kind of true when it comes to Kickstarter and Indiegogo campaigns for me. I might be alone on this, but when I see something being put up on a campaign, right, I ask myself, okay, how much does this cost, first and foremost? How much are they asking for? And then I say, okay, do I really want to support this? And most of the time, regardless of the other answers, I'll just say no. Because I don't know that the product they're going to make, even though they say all these things and they have screenshots and stuff, is going to be the final product. There's a lot of debacles when it comes to Steam Greenlight and games and Indiegogo campaigns, and there's been fraud and stuff. Now, most people, like this crew, I don't think they're trying to fraud anybody out, but I'm just not a fan of supporting them because I don't know what the final product will be. I mean, for example, let's say I buy a product and it comes out and it's not what I expected. Well, then I ended up wasting my money and I can't really get it back, even if I complain. Where, if I wait for the game to come out, then I buy the game, then I say, wow, this is a really cool game, guys. I support you. Then I'll donate to you. I'm fine with donating to people because of something I enjoy doing and it's really awesome to play. But paying for something before it comes out is kind of skeptical to me. The only time I'll do that is in one campaign I actually paid for, Yooka-Laylee, which is the creators from the original Rare and composers like David Wise, Greg Kirchhoff, and all the guys that did Banjo-Kazooie, and they're making this game called Yooka-Laylee. And they actually have professional people on the team, you know, stating their ideas about this and what they want to do. And these are professional people that have produced video games. David Wise has composed for the Donkey Kong Country series, Donkey Kong Country 2. He composed for Banjo-Kazooie. He composed for Diddy Kong Racing. really good guys, and those are great nostalgic tracks, right? I don't know if any of you guys play those games. So that is something I'll support. But when it comes to random people on the internet that I don't know, I'd rather donate to you after I get your finished product and I enjoy it and I bought it and supported you, rather than pay for something before it even comes out. So that's my first kind of peeve here when it comes to Indiegogo campaigns. The next thing is, after reading this first paragraph, I'm sure you noticed there was a couple English mistakes, and the one I just want to point out right here is on Google Play Store on second quarter. I'm an English teacher for Japanese students, and I've also taught Hispanic students and Somalians as well. Many different ages, from ages 2 years old to 80 years old, all different types of people. And most people have a level of English or level of any language that they are at. There's a reason why there's the JLPT 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in Japan to test your skills on how fluent and how much you can use Japanese as an everyday language in all circumstances, which include reading, writing, speaking, and listening. When it comes to English, those prepositions on, at, in are usually something you learn in elementary level English. We learn that on is usually used for specific times of the of day, like for example, I meant to say specific days of the week, or years, I can't even think right now. Days of the week, things like that. Specific days or specific like periods of time. Whereas in, for example, is used on months and years in 2015, and other time expressions as well. And then you have at, which is usually specific times at 10 o'clock. We also say in the evening, at night. Difference between English, the only real exception in English and British English is you say at the weekend in British English and on the weekend in American English. But the point here is, I'm getting on a small tangent, Google Play Store on second quarter. Well, the second quarter is a specific period of time, so we say in the second quarter, right? And they obviously didn't use a definite article here, so they didn't use the. And you think, Ren, what's the big deal about that, right? Maybe the person that wrote this isn't a professional, their English isn't their native language. Here's my problem with that statement. English isn't their native language. If this story was written in Indonesian, I'd be absolutely fine with it, because these authors and the people writing this are from Indonesia, and therefore they can speak Indonesian. But if you are not a native speaker of something you want to write in, or at least damn near perfect at doing it, I don't think that gives you qualification to make anything, and I'm not going to support you in really any way, shape, or form. It's just not my kind of thing. Harper Lee, F. Scott Fitzgerald, who wrote The Great Gatsby, one of my favorite books of all time, he knew how to speak English. He wasn't some foreigner that came over and wrote half-ass English and then decided that it was okay. And most people say you shouldn't be so picky, it's not their second language. Well, if you're making me pay money for a product, and one, it's a story, I expect there to be damn near perfect original language that you're writing it in. If you're going to do the English medium, then you should be writing really perfect English. Now, I know these guys and have great intentions, and they're really pushing forward for this, and I respect that in every way, shape, and form. And that's why I think some people should support them. But I can just not get behind this VN because of the poor English, especially that you didn't even get a person that could really speak English for your Indiegogo page, which is asking for money. I mean, I look at this backer user interface no need, I can go home by myself. I mean, you already didn't capitalize a subject pronoun I, which is like one of the most common things you learn when it comes to writing. Maybe this is just a misprint or just an error in the game, which can easily be fixed in the scripts. But I mean, if you're posting this image on your Indiegogo page, that doesn't tell me a lot. You want to make sure that your Indiegogo page attracts attention, and if you're going to do anything, at least don't lie, but at least, make it look impressive. This is what companies do, They tricked everyone into believing that, Colonial versus Alien Marines was great, and then it ended up being really poo. I mean, you see all the trailers at E3, which have the amazing graphics, and then it's nothing like the game when it gets ported to the console because the graphical settings can never reach that high. Just to give an example. They go through all this, and this is great, and they have all these things, but there's just a lot of choppy English, and it's not good. I look at, for example, Leon Bradley, a good friend of Arthur, a playboy wannabe with too much time and money to spend. nice and gentle deep down. He is studying in the business school of the university to follow his father's footsteps. Not much known about his personal life. Arthur and Leon is best friends. Okay, this is another example. Arthur and Leon, those are two people. That's the third person plural. You use the verb are, which is the third person plural form of be. I mean, if you're making small mistakes like this, these are elementary English mistakes. These are elementary any language mistakes. When you learn French, you learn your je, tu, il, elle, on, nous, vous, il, elle, pluriel, whatever. You learn all these subject pronouns. Italian, you don't really learn io, tu, because they don't really use them. They just drop them in Italian. But you learn, ish, in German and all these different types of things, because this is a very common thing, and you should learn how to conjugate. One of the first verbs you learn how to conjugate really in any language is an irregular verb. Usually in Japanese you learn des, or iru, aru, and then in English you learn be. In French you learn être. In Spanish, I don't know what it is, essere. In Italian, you learn the be verb because it's one of the most irregular ones in the entire language, even in Latin. My point is, when you're making elementary mistakes, it doesn't really tell me a lot about wanting to support your game. I know you have good intentions, but then you shouldn't be writing in English. This game would seem like an awesome idea if you guys wrote it in Indonesian. You wrote it in your original language, and then somebody could translate it. I feel it bothers me that people think that translated visual novels have to only be English. You can make a visual novel, an original, in this case, Indonesian visual novel, and then somebody can translate it if they really like it. It seems like a great premise. The story seems awesome, and I really like the CGs and the art. It looks great. But as a writer, you have got, and if I look at this, who's, our story writer, GW, I don't know. I can already tell what his writing's like because he didn't even correctly use I don't know. It doesn't give me a lot of good impressions for this game, and I understand what they're trying to do, and it's a great effort, but you have to be damn near perfect in the language you write in if you want to write, because it's one thing if you make mistakes in like a small game and there's a little errata or something, like if you told me press A to beat up bad guy, I'd understand in my video game that I'm supposed to tap the A button to punch or something, and you could figure that stuff out. But this is a story. This is something that you're supposed to be immersed in, and if you have trouble reading some of the things in the story, it's going to be difficult. Now, are these grammatical mistakes going to make it unreadable? Probably not. But it does really say a lot about your product when you have somebody possibly that's working as a writer who doesn't speak English as their native language, especially when you're writing an English visual novel. People who write visual novels in Japan are all Japanese and can speak and use Japanese fluently when they write their games. Not saying they're necessarily professional writers who've gone to school for a very long time, because it's not always true, but it's important to have good writing in whatever language you're writing in, and that's why, in my personal opinion, I just don't feel like supporting this visual novel. Will the characters be voiced? They want to plan to collaborate with Japanese professional voice actor. You're also messing up your countable nouns and uncountable nouns. Japanese professional voice actors, because you're talking about more than one. Countable and uncountable nouns are something, again, you learn in like elementary, maybe, upper elementary. In this case, I'd say pre-intermediate, before you hit like the intermediate stage. So pre-intermediate stage, it's something you learn, your uncountables and countables, or at least how to, count certain things. And if you can't even count that as a noun, it's difficult. It's difficult to get behind. I wish these guys good luck, but asking for an 8,000 USD stretch goal with flexible funding just seems so ridiculous. It really does. Maybe that's just me, but that's my personal opinion. Anyways, what do you guys think? Is this something that you would get behind and support? Do you feel I'm giving a bad impression, saying the wrong thing by, stating why I think this is a bad idea to fund? Or I don't know, what do you think? I'm curious on your thoughts. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. I ended up actually deleting my ass video because I just don't think enough people like butts, I guess. And I didn't want to offend anybody. So, hopefully you guys comment in the video and let me know what you think. Alright, awesome. Catch you next time. Peace.